Evening, boys. Chapter 19. 1 week till I see you in Dubai. You ready? You in bed? Right, love you loads. Right, here we go. Chapter 19. Get this right. There we are. Emmy was so startled by the sudden arrival of Finn's dad that she dropped the jar she was holding. It rolled unbroken to his feet. He picked it up. "You shouldn't be in here," he said. Finn, breathless and a little panicked, blurted, "Emmy, the toilet isn't down there." Hugo and Emmy both shot Finn a look that wilted him. Finn hadn't seen his father so annoyed in quite some time, at least not so annoyed with anyone other than him. "There are things in this room that could kill you," he said, seething. "There are things here that could kill everybody. This is not a playground." "Dad," started Finn. "It's time your friend went home," said Finn's dad. Finn sighed, but signalled Emmy to follow him. They were making their way towards the exit when Emmy stopped and faced Finn's dad. "They're desiccated, aren't they?" "What?" asked Finn's dad. "The desiccators. I've heard about them." "Heard about them?" "Yeah, Finn told me." "Did he now?" said his father. "Did I?" thought Finn. He said the desiccator net became the weapon of choice for most legend hunters centuries ago, because it traps legends but didn't kill them. Is that true? "Well, yes," said Finn's dad, a little calmer now, examining her. "We've used the desiccator on them." "All of them?" asked Emmy, gaining a little courage to take a step back into the library. "Remind me, what did you say your father does?" Finn's dad said to Emmy. "He's a technology consultant," she answered, sounding a little shy again. "Technology consultant," Finn's father. Anger seemed to have ebbed as he became more inquisitive. "And how long are you here for?" "A short while. Dad's doing stuff with the phone lines or something. I didn't really pay attention." "Well, no, why should you? And you heard all about the legend hunters from Finn, did you?" "Oh yes, I'm fascinated by them now. The life, the battles, what it must be like to come face to face with a legend. I would love to be one. A legend hunter, that is. Really, really I would." "Can't I?" asked Emmy. "Didn't Finn make that clear? No civilians." "Oh yeah, of course. But I'll think about it sometimes, all the same." Finn's father narrowed his eyes and cocked his head. He was holding the jar containing the hodboon, rolling it deliberately between his palms. "Go on now," he said, and shooed them away, shutting the door behind them. Finn and Emmy walked up the long corridor without a word, entering the house and going straight to the front door. Finn opened it and waited for Emmy to leave. "Oh, I'm sorry, Finn," she said. "I hope I haven't got you into too much trouble." Finn felt something unsettling, but he didn't quite identify the sensation. "Did you mean that? About wanting to be a legend hunter?" "Oh, definitely," Emmy replied, her tone a little regretful. "What you do is amazing. All that excitement, and the desiccators, and other worlds, and that huge room at the end of the hall. I mean, seriously, who wouldn't want this?" Finn's face betrayed his deepest feelings about that. Finally he spoke. "Did I really talk to you about the desiccator? I don't remember that." "Oh yeah, you must have, loads of times, I'm sure. Anyway, I'd better go." What do you think, boys? Do you believe Emmy? Do you think she's telling the truth and that Finn told her about the desiccator? Or do you think she's got a secret to hide that we haven't found out about yet? I'm suspicious. Keep reading. Emmy pulled her hair forward and turned for home. Finn closed the door, not noticing that the bright day had swiftly given way to damp grey, and that Emmy had already disappeared into the veil of the gathering mist. Alright, straight into chapter 20. "There's one blip," Finn's dad pointed at the computer screen. "Blip? And there's the other. Blip." Finn stood beside him, not entirely sure what they were both waiting for. The two spots kept blipping. Blip, blip. On the screen was a map of the town. Every few seconds a small green pulse appeared in two distinct spots. Blip, one at the harbour. Blip, the other a couple of miles away from it. by the short tunnel at the entrance to Darkmouth. Finn understood what the scanner was telling them. 2 gateways had just opened. The alarm had sounded as Finn was making his way back down towards the library, but was silenced quickly. He had arrived in the room expecting his father to be rushing in the other direction. Instead, he was standing over the screen and had motioned for Finn to join him. "Dad, I didn't know," Finn started to say. "Later," came the curt reply. "Blip, blip. What do you see, Finn?" His dad didn't wait for an answer. "These are 2 gateways, but they're both small. One of them would let through a legend of any size. Very odd. I'd like you to examine the smaller one while I check out the larger one. You can get changed in the car before I drop you off." "Hold on, drop me off?" asked Finn, not liking what he was hearing. His dad was already heading for some bookshelves at the back, where he lifted the stopper from a large, empty, triangular jar. To Finn's surprise, a whole section of the wall swung open, and Finn's father ran through. Finn stared after him for a moment, irritated. "A hidden door? When were you going to tell me about that hidden door, Dad?" "Well, I just have," said his father, and he stuck his head back into the library. "I didn't want you messing about with it. Now hurry up." Sighing, Finn followed and found himself in a part of the building he hadn't known existed. A dark, apparently unused remnant of what this part of the library used to be before the legend hunters moved in. Long hidden behind the circular wall, its deep red bricks exposed under crumbled patches of rotten plaster, apparently unchanged since the rest of the street had become colonised by Finn's ancestors. Ahead of him, his father pulled at a large door, which opened reluctantly until the dull morning light flooded the space and released them onto the street. "Very odd," his dad repeated as they drove. Finn was in the back, wrestling with his fighting suit, trying to avoid falling against a row of knives lining the interior of the vehicle. "We have 2 gateways appearing at the same time, but even the bigger one is so small it shouldn't be too much of a concern. That must be why this fog has come down instead of rain." Finn realised he was pulling his suit on backwards, the armour choking him at the chin, so he tried again. His dad had half an eye on the scanner on the dashboard, which showed the same map and unevenly sized green dots flaring every couple of seconds. "Here's the thing, Finn," said his dad. "Remember when the second gateway popped up the other day and then disappeared straight away?" I looked back at the scanner's records from the previous hunt, and what do you think I found? Said Finn's dad. Finn really wanted to get this right. "Other gateways?" he guessed, losing his balance again. "Well done. This has happened 4 times now. Other tiny gateways open into Darkmouth while we are off hunting a legend. The others were so brief that they hardly registered. The scanner went blip. So this right now is very curious. The smaller one might be a failed attempt by a legend to open a bigger gateway, and we need to make sure in any case." "I really have to check it on my own?" asked Finn. "You've got to do it sometime," said her dad. "Better when there's probably no great danger." Probably, thought Finn. The car's lights stabbed an arc in the fog as it turned sharply, causing Finn to flail across the back and crash into a net of canisters. "If the gateway is still there when we get to it, Finn, all you need to do is mind it until it disappears or I get back. Whatever happens first. It'll be too small for any legends to get through, so there's nothing to be worried about. You can reach me on the radio if you need me." Where am I? Finn was still fighting with his fighting suit. "Come on, Buster, hurry up, seriously," said his dad. They arrived near the pier, the car's massive tyres scrunching up along the curb as it pulled over. Its side doors went down automatically and Finn half fell out, holding onto his helmet to keep it on his head. Through the fog he could see a gently pulsing smudge of golden light hanging in the air. It looked almost like a street lamp, except that it was low down, about eye level with Finn. He was temporarily mesmerised by the thought of this gateway, open and raw, a hole between his world and another. Despite his recent legend hunts, Finn had only ever seen gateways in a few blurry videos and photos taken in the days before they closed everywhere but Dartmouth. He had grown up with the idea as commonplace, but his mind now burbled at the sight of an actual portal to the world of legends. He was a little bit in awe. He was also very scared. "Finn," his dad called out, jolting him. "Have you forgotten something?" His dad dandled Finn's desiccator from the car window. "Come on, Finn, I know you can do this, but you've got to use your head sometimes." Finn tried to crank himself up for a clever response, but his mouth was too dry with fear for him to muster anything useful. He simply took the weapon, wrapped its strap around his wrist, and watched his dad drive away until the vehicle was swallowed by the fog. He continued to assess the gateway from distance. He had heard many stories of civilians and hunters getting a little too close to these portals and not having the chance to live to regret it. He had heard tales of legend hunters' apprentices daring each other to put their heads in a gateway for a look at the other world, and then for them to snap shut and leave them squirming in brief agony before their body was chewed in two, their legs twitching long after their front end had disappeared into the infested side. That was if they were lucky. There was a popular theory that once it clamped on to a person, a gateway's energy seeped into the body, becoming one with it. This, went the thinking, would lead the unfortunate individual to live a bodiless existence for all eternity. The monotonous torment relieved only by the special torture of being torn open every so often to let a large creature climb through. It was only a theory, of course. Writing home to tell everyone about it would be quite difficult under the circumstances. Still, for horrible ways to die, Finn had a few options on offer to him now, but he tried to push those thoughts away. His dad didn't believe that there was any danger, probably no danger anyway. He wouldn't have given Finn the job otherwise, and he expected him to go through with it. Finn had to trust his dad. He knew what he was talking about after all. Finn really hoped his dad did know what he was talking about. So he started to creep tentatively towards the gateway, his suit a minor chorus of rattles, his weapon raised and his heartbeat raised even higher. He could hear the sea to the left, lapping at the stony beach pier below. The squall of seagulls came from somewhere above the fog, and he picked his way carefully over the fishermen's ropes, unused lobster pots, and scraps of plastic scattered along the beach. As he moved closer to the gateway, it became more defined, emanating a sound like rushing water. Its brilliance was almost inviting, its fringes made up of dazzling, fizzing white light that felt familiar. He quickly recognised them as the same patterns of light he had seen under the microscope in Mr. Glad's shop. But before he had time to dwell on the coincidence, he startled by a dark silhouette at the gateway. Something, a tall creature with a broad torso and a horribly misshapen head. Finn's outfit squeaked. He halted mid-creep. The creature stopped. What is it doing at the gateway? And it turned and looked in his general direction. Finn hardly dared to breathe as he stood motionless, his feet still half raised. Apparently seeing nothing, the creature resumed its business at the gateway, bending a little to reach it. Finn completed his step. Every sound from his suit seemed to him like a minor earthquake in a tin can factory. He crouched carefully, reaching for the button on his neck that activated the radio, and whispered, "Dad! Come in, Dad!" A little louder, "Dad, this is Finn." Still nothing. He pressed again and pressed again. Absolute silence. No static, no bleep. When he tried to activate it, only the sound of his heart beating a panicked rhythm in his throat. He must have pulled on a wire when wrestling with the suit in the car. Now even in the fog so thick he could have reached out and carved help in it. He felt completely exposed. Alright, we'll stop there. What's going to happen? Who's the creature at the gateway?